With the release of Blocktail's Demo 4, we are back with a lot of new things to cover, from Calypso being the main punching bag, to genies with absurdly long names, to cameos from different characters, to the original Starwalker, and especially the hidden lore, which I'm going to cover today. So sit back, relax, grab your firebrand, and it's time to cover the lore of Blocktail's Demo 4. I'm gonna skip through the smaller details, but basically, we were tasked by Shadletsky to navigate the ancient temple of the Red Sun to retrieve the firebrand, which is the only sword without a sword guardian. At the desert area, we meet the two most important characters of the demo, which are Captain Trotter and Calypso, who have set sail to find an ancient treasure, while us the player join along to find the firebrand. But first, I want to talk about Calypso's character, which I believe that she is Kyoto's sister. When we talk to Kyoto over at the beach about our quest from Shadletsky to go to the desert, she seems scared, and after we ask her if she's okay, she tells us about her sister who is an adventurer who was going to explore the desert lands and promised that she would come back before she knew it, but she never came back. While in Calypso's story, when she went to the desert, she got lost in the desert and thought that she was never going to make it out until Captain Trotter and his crew found her and took her under her wing, which gave her courage to find the hidden treasure since she owes it to Captain Trotter. Not to mention, but they both have dark skin and brown hair, and they both have memories of being in Bizville, while Kyoto was a resident of Bizville, while Calypso hates it. So I think it's pretty obvious to say that Calypso is Kyoto's sister. On to the main part of the chapter, we get to witness and enter the Temple of the Red Sun, which could have been constructed by the ancients, which bear many hieroglyphics, which Calypso is very fond of. These hieroglyphics depict some sort of worship or religion among its people, but the most prominent thing that are depicted in these walls are the themes of sacrifices. Specifically, sacrificial normality, as on the walls, there are a bunch of images of knives and swords and other animals which were possibly sacrifices to their ancient god, or the firebrand, which could mean that the firebrand was possibly the executor of sacrifices, as Calypso mentions. The eye symbol is also apparent in the temple, which symbolizes the ancients who oversees everything as an all-seeing ruler. Further evidence that supports the idea of sacrificing is this room, which depicts a knife, monarch, and relic, with decapitated limbs, which shows that there is some dark stuff that has been done in this temple with the abundance of imagery of death. Calypso also mentions how these sacrifices were also used in the public view as some sort of event. After defeating the temple guardian and falling to the deep cavern, we see how all of the captain's crew have all reset character, while Captain Trotter has a reasonable crash out because the only reason why he wanted the treasure was to lead his crew out of poverty. After beating the easiest puzzle of the chapter, seriously, this took way too long unless I'm that dumb, we now make it to the room of treasures, and most especially the firebrand, which Captain Trotter stops us from claiming as the sword seeks a sacrifice according to him. He now sees us as a traitor, and in a shocking twist, while he's trying to persuade Calypso, he turns against her as she's more on our side rather than his. And it seems like when he grabbed the firebrand, it made him go crazy to want to kill us. Now, we know that these swords have corrupted their previous wielders like the Cruel King or even us in Demo 3, which delved into the player's manifestations of negative emotions, which dealt with our psychological state and combating them. After defeating Captain Trotter, he believed that the only true way to escape was to sacrifice us. So, in the heat of the moment, Calypso accidentally kicks Captain Trotter into the fiery depths, which she's devastated about. But then, a new entity appears, which is the Ancients, which was seemingly summoned from the sacrifice that it claimed, which was Captain Trotter. The Ancients talk about Captain Trotter's soul, which was filled with ambition, greed, and betrayal, which pleased the Ancients. After defeating the Ancients, it mentions how the blood sacrifice tastes the same, but the Ancients are not quenched as the metamorphosis is inevitable and thanks us for another soul in the firebrand, while Calypso quietly talks to the invisible soul or presence of Captain Trotter and thanks him for the kindness of his heart. Now, with the story now in front of us, here's my theory about the lore of the Ancients and the temple of an old civilization. Long ago, there was a god. Not just any god, but an entity called the Ancients. Many people, specifically an ancient civilization of the past, praised this god, and they made a whole religion about it. This civilization of people also found the firebrand. The firebrand was used for sacrifices in the temple by the people for the public to view through events or ceremonies in order to worship their god, the Ancients, but it never seemed to work. So, they kept on sacrificing every single thing, from animals, cutting off limbs, and even their king and queen, but nothing seemed to please the Ancients. Until we came along. We were able to find a soul worthy of summoning the Ancients, which is of course Captain Trotter's soul, and the only reason why his soul was accepted was because it was filled with ambition, greed, a beautiful horror, and most importantly because it happened with the hands of trust. The trust that Captain Trotter laid upon the player and Calypso. But even though him being sacrificed, the ancients were never quenched, but thanks us for its enlightenment, while the souls of all those who were sacrificed are trapped in the firebrand for all of eternity. And that's it for the lore of Block Tales Demo 4. And remember that that's just a theory. Block Tales theory. Thanks for watching.